Well, hello again, friends. How are you guys and gals feeling today? Spring is around the corner. We got the sun shining over here. Another glorious day here in the powerful country of Canada. Once again, thank you for joining me, Jason Cosmic RSSP Authority. That's right, the new channel here. I hope you guys are enjoying my videos. And for anybody else new to the channel, if you enjoy my videos upcoming, like this one, please don't hesitate to subscribe, give me a thumbs up, share my videos hopefully, and leave a comment. I'll read it, good or bad, hopefully more positive than bad. So my friends, another time we're going to get into the patches again, the significance of these triangle vector symbols that are on the Russia and China patches as well. It shows this is the TR3B that I've talked about previous videos, my friends. Amazing technology, actual UFOs, actual trillions of dollars of hardware zipping around all over the place. And as you see, my favorite picture in the infrared, the huge cylindrical object, cigar-shaped in the rings of Saturn. Famous photo, my friends, back in 1986. I'm still trying to figure out what the hell are they doing in the rings of Saturn. But we know who's staffing them, U.S. naval officers. And I told you why. If you watch other videos, my friends, I explain. And we'll do it again in future videos. But today, I wanted to discuss with you guys and gals, how about we talk about an amazing interview apparently on lamestream media. I was very surprised because there's very few good interviews and investigation, as most people know, now on lamestream media, okay? They hardly do any real investigations anymore. You always get a very narrow scope of the truth, largely, on corporate lamestream bought-out media. It's like a PR campaign. It's really, I think, contributed to a lot of degraded discourse, of course, in our society, right? You know, with corporate lamestream media. It's brain distraction a lot. It's distraction. I mean, we'll get into, maybe later in this video where we'll talk about rockets, how they disorient the public with rockets. Are you kidding me? You guys know my preliminary analysis on rockets, that you guys that are already my subscribers, you know how I feel about that. But I want to talk about an interesting interview. I never saw it. I never listened to it, but I've listened carefully to another person that, saw the interview. And apparently it was a co-founder of PayPal, somebody Field, right? This billionaire. And he said, and I would agree with him, he was going on about how he believes there's been no fundamental discovery, no really discovery breakthrough in scientific technologies and progress since 1945 with atomic power. Think about that. Think about that, my friends. And it is really true because, look, and we've just sort of tinkered around the edges with all these technologies. I'll give you an example. So first of all, if you talk to people, at Silicon Valley, right, they'll be probably irate and say, "What are you talking about? No fundamental discovery since 1945." But I would respond and I would tell them, and I'm sure Field would say the same thing, it's more application and innovation. It's not real fundamental discoveries. And yes, the internet was great. It's amazing for society, right? But the internet, that came out of DARPA, which I call Defense Apocalyptic Research Program Administration. They like to say administration sounds more authoritative, right? Same with NASA. Used to be agency, now it's administration. So I call Defense Apocalyptic Research Agency, or whatever, programming agency. So the internet came out of DARPA, and the technologies from your cell phone, I'll use my case, all the cool apps, well, that's great, but those came out of the covert programs. It started, always starts with the dark projects and these covert programs, so it got doled out. These are corporate spin-offs that we get. It's great that we get, but again, the covert military civilizations, they made a fundamental discovery breakthrough in the 1950s. And we'll get into it later, but you know what it is? I'll tell you right now, real quick. It's anti-gravity. Absolutely they did. Amazing anti-gravity electromagnetic propulsion, and we've been held hostage, the rest of the world. And I'll show you in a minute how they do that. So let's go back 100 years ago, right? Your phone and all the lighting in your building and your houses, that came from the 1800s, coal-fired power plants, right? Your car engine, Mercedes, or your car engine's the same Mercedes had in the 1800s with internal combustion, right? Jet engines, 1930s. Rockets, 1940s with Nazi German tech, 1943, the V-2 rocket. And atomic power, 1945. It takes the same amount of time to fly from JFK to Paris, France as it did in 1964. That's why he says, again, no fundamental discoveries really for 50 to 60 years. And, you know, this book, The Secrets of Anti-Gravity, my friends, once they made the anti-gravity breakthrough, they even said with those technologies, we would be able to travel around the world in an hour or less, okay? But we've been denied. The rest of the world have been denied on those amazing technologies. It's a total free energy. I've talked about in other videos, you guys know that. It's a revolutionary non-plutonium physics. It is getting the energy from the ether of space, the zero-point energy. These covert military civilizations, they have harnessed the zero-point energy, and that means rotating plasma at like 50 to 60,000 revolutions per minute, injecting it with high globs of direct high current electricity, which Ronald Richter, by the way, the famous Nazi scientist, German scientist, was doing back in 1936. That's right. Him and a scientist discovered zero-point energy. You see how we've been hoodwinked and lied to for so long in these technologies? But it's there in the historical records. You just have to do a little bit of research investigation and you find these things out. Took me a while, but I figured it out. And I'm still learning. As I say, you know, with the real secret space program, my friends, what's so invigorating, I find, and enticing and fascinating is, luckily for us who you know, like to talk about the real secret space program, what's going on above our heads, not to mention, of course, we have underground, under ocean bases with a lot of infrastructure for UFOs there, industrial manufacturing and off-world. But there's a kaleidoscope of topics, right, that we can discuss. And it's just amazing. Whether it be the missing trillions, of course, you know, going into the black budget, 21 trillion missing since 1998. Catherine's now estimated you've got $50 trillion shifted out of North America. And that doesn't even include what may have been shifted in industrial countries in Europe. And we're going to do a whole video on the missing trillions again. Speaking of which, if you guys want to learn about the missing trillions, and if you want to learn more about the real secret space program and the history behind it and the culture, check out Joe from the Carolinas, our live stream that we did together over 6 months ago. Hi, Joe. Give you a thumbs up. Joe's putting out amazing videos all the time. This guy's so bright, and he's trying to help humanity in his own unique way, just like I am, I think. And I think all of us together, my friends, if we coalesce our ideas and thinking and fight for the freedom of humanity, there's no question we can get our divine right to this anti-gravity. And there's going to be a lot of effort that's going to need to be involved, but I believe we're this close to getting our rights finally to this anti-gravity. We've been lied to for 60 plus years, my friends. 60 plus years they made the breakthroughs, the Americans did, with those paperclip Nazi scientists. No doubt about it. So again, but, you know, we're just told that we haven't made really a discovery, if you look at our world, since 1945 with atomic power. But of course, people do come out sometimes with a fundamental discovery breakthrough, i.e. free energy and the free energy harvesting devices. But you know what happens? Well, it's taken through national security order, we know this, or they take it right from you, or we know they seize it through the patent laws process, like the patent process provisions for seizure, right? We've got, at the American Sciences, you've got 5,135 patents that have been seized, for example. They tell you, and that's just for starters. Can you imagine? 5,135 patents. So that's how they hold the rest of the world hostage. And it's not right, of course, my friends. We deserve the anti-gravity, the free energy electromagnetic propulsion systems. Absolutely we do. Not just for the covert military civilizations, because it's going to beautify our planet. And it comes from our amazing cosmos. I describe it's like a spiritual dynamo technology, my friends. That's what it is. It comes from the ether of space. And they have manipulated this energy as a technological reality. I give all the credit in the world in one respect to these contractors. They made the breakthroughs. They didn't need ET help. You know, you get 95% of ufologists saying, oh, well, we reverse engineered, they say like retro parts, in other words, from crashes at Roswell or Aztec. You know, give me a break. And even guys like Stephen Greer, we're going to do a whole video on Stephen Greer. Not only does he subscribe that the Roswell crash was ET, He even says the Bentwaters case was an alien spacecraft that landed there. You know, the triangle that was seen by the military. That's all military UFOs, my friends. This is very compartmentalized. Stephen Greer knows better. And I'll tell you why he's putting those lies out when we do a whole video on this guy. So we got to be aware, my friends. It's unfortunate, but the CIA, the NRO, the NSA, and parts of the military, we know it is the mandate of them to lie, deny, and deceive at the expense of American taxpayers. Michael Schratt will tell you that, the great aerospace historian, who I also have a lot of respect and high esteem for. But also, he learned that from, I think it was Michael Scott is his name. He was a former editor of the Aviation Technology magazine there in Colorado, right? He tells you, you know, and it's the mandate for some of the deep black contractors, of course, to lie and deny and deceive at the expense of American taxpayers. And that's why it's up to us, my friends. We've got to penetrate that black budget technology. And ultimately, I think we can help the contractors and the current leadership in government. We can help them ultimately to transfer all the black budget technology. But they've got to be courageous. And I think we can motivate them, my friends, because we can help them explain away the cover-up. But they've got to be courageous. You see, anytime they try to get a guy like Stephen Greer, I think he's just a shill for the U.S. intel agencies. I'm actually convinced of that, and I'll tell you why on future videos. Rest assured. Because and this guy's putting out all this ET stories. Oh, we're being visited by aliens, right? And he makes up all this. Totally makes up physics, like they're coming from transcendental, some sort of transcendental technology they're using faster than consciousness. They're able to get here from millions of light years away. It's all hokey pokey, my friends. It's all a lie. He even tries to convince people that, you know, there were aliens on the moon when Neil Armstrong and Buzz went to the moon. No, my friends, we have had covert military civilizations on the moon and Mars for decades, okay? They were up there on the moon when the astronauts went, no question about it. And the reason we can know that, my friends, the reason we can know the structures that started to be built on the moon, that started in the 1960s. And once they made the anti-gravity breakthroughs in the 1950s, then you know they've got exo-atmospheric vehicles that could go into space, no problem, and going off-world. We've got major off-planet investment, my friends, on the moon and Mars, no question about it, okay? And we'll get into that on future videos. But I wanted to say that going back to the discovery ideals, you know, a lot of these UFO flying programs, keep in mind the technologies, you know, they're doled out to their corporate partners, okay? And then they get monetized, creating enormous revenue for a lot of these large private corporations. And of course, then, you know, they sort of tinker around the edges where we get some of those technologies finally as a product, okay? But again, they've tinkered around the edges because there's been no real fundamental discovery that we've been allowed to have since 1945. And I told you, when somebody does come out with a fundamental discovery, they're seized, okay? But we can stop that, my friends. You know, we can get our power and sovereignty back. I know we can do it. It's going to take a cultural drive, I always say, but we can ultimately make that societal shift. And again, we can compel our governments to come out and tell us the truth about anti-gravity. Otherwise, we have the right to tear down governments and build our own governments. The Constitution states that, okay? And you know, we don't have to put up with the lies and the hoodwinking for 60 plus years anymore, my friends. Can you imagine we've been lied to that long, 60 plus years, okay? It's caused enormous privileges for a lot of these corporate elitists, the financial cabal, deep state, call them what you will, the shadow government. I'm reading an interesting book now by Kevin Shipp on the shadow government. This guy formerly worked, and he was a former CIA guy, okay? So I have respect for people in the CIA, some of them in the U.S. intel agencies. Certainly a lot of great military folks as well, military personnel. But we need a new awareness campaign over the U.S. intel agencies. Dark Journalist said that once. I paid attention, and I agree with them 100%. We do. Because there's a lot of insidious agendas, unfortunately. They're largely unconstrained, out of control. We know that. They've got way too much power, and that breeds corruption. But we can fight the good fight on this and get our power and freedom and sovereignty back and provide peace, happiness, and great health in this world, my friends. And we can clean up the environment. This is a complete free energy, my friends. This is clean. We don't need stinky oil and gas or centralized utilities or really nuclear. We have not needed it for decades, my friends. We shouldn't have needed it, okay? And I know we can do it. We can get this black budget technology, as I say. So I wanted to say all that today, my friends. I hope you listened. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please subscribe. Like I said, share my videos. Hopefully we can take this channel to the next level. I know we can do it. And I'll be working hopefully with my professional photographer soon. I still have not really got any help yet. Only help once, actually, but that'll change. Okay, and I'm doing the best I can in the meantime. I hope you guys appreciate it. And I hope you appreciate my infrared photo that I love so much with the massive cigar-shaped craft all the way in the rings of Saturn, like I said. And that's staffed by U.S. naval officers, and they're not using rockets, my friends. One last thing I'll say, as I said in one of my previous videos, we got YouTubers like Answers with Joe, he calls them. Not my YouTube buddy Joe from the Carolinas. Joe, he's doing great work. But this guy calls himself Answers with Joe, and another one called, I think, Astronaut Answers. These guys do some good work. Their channels are okay. You know, they've got production value and all that good stuff in a video camera. But you know what? They brag about rockets. They talk about the public space program, which is an absolute joke. I showed you guys we're way past rockets. Actually, you know what? I want to do this for my buddy Joe and for you guys out there. My buddy Joe from the Carolinas, he wants me to get some primary sources out there for my evidence sometimes, I think. And I think then he'll have no choice but to invite me again on his live stream. We did an amazing, electrifying live stream, I think, over 6 months ago, my friends. I think you guys will agree. We've had over 2,300 views, okay? I had a great time with Joe. I'll always have gratitude, and a big thanks to you, Joe, for inviting me on. And I hope Joe will invite me on again because, Joe, you know we're going to bring thousands of more people together listening to our amazing messages, trying to bring transparency and be advocates for the truth on this all-important subject, the real secret space program. So you guys can check that out, by the way. Hopefully I'll put a link underneath this video. It was titled Secret Space Program Culture, Controversial Interview. And I think Joe had big letters. It says live transmission, okay? He's sitting in a UFO. It was really cool. So I want to read, though, or I don't even have to read it. I've got it memorized. Going back to the 1950s, my friends, showing you that the covert military civilizations, they did make a transformative discovery breakthrough that we've been denied and lied to, as I say, for 60 plus years because the Amarillo Daily News, November 14th, 1955. The headline was, it said, Spaceship Marvel Seen, If Science Can Outwit Gravity. And they went on to say that many in America's aircraft and electronic industries are excited about the possibility of using magnetic and gravitational fields as a medium for support for amazing flying vehicles that will not have to depend on air for lift. I hope you guys heard that. That is amazing, right? And then it went on to say spaceships will be able to accelerate within a few seconds to many thousands of miles an hour, okay, and not subject their passengers to the so-called G-forces by gravitational pulls. That's also envisioned, it said. I mean, that's truly remarkable. Exactly right. Another newspaper article, I forget the title of this newspaper article, because there was like 12 newspaper articles. The first one I read, or told you guys, is my favorite. The other one said, they talked about satellites, even airships, and of course spacecraft will be able to move swiftly into space without feeling strain from orbit, Earth gravity pull, and will not have to wrench themselves away from powerful brute force of rockets and expenditures of expensive fuels. Exactly right. Why are we using liquid nitrogen rockets, my friends? It's a joke. The public space program, that's how the government disorients the public, my friends. Absolutely. And, SpaceX with Elon Musk. Elon Musk is largely just a shill for the U.S. intel agencies, I always say. No question about it. You just have to look at his Falcon 5 sophisticated heavy rocket that guys like Answers with Joe and Astronaut Answers, they literally brag about rockets. That's what gets me. I mean, that's 1943 Nazi German dinosaur technology. Michael Schratt tells you, Billy Carson tells you the same thing and says it's dumb. we're way past rockets, but you would never know it if you just watch corporate media or if you watch those two guys' YouTube channels. These guys don't focus on the covert side or look at it, and they should, because this is a much higher pitch of technologies. This is a revolutionary non-plutonium physics we're talking about, the anti-gravity, my friends. A total free energy. Rockets is destroying the ionosphere. We know that, right? And you're spending probably trillions of dollars on chemical fuels when we shouldn't have to? I mean, come on. It's a disgrace. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video today. More videos to come, I promise. And hopefully you'll subscribe. Again, give me that thumbs up, share my videos, give me a like, and leave a comment if you want, okay? We can get our divine right to this amazing discovery breakthrough. I know we can as the public, but we got to coalesce our ideas and thinking and take action together. We can do it, my friends. And we can help our current leadership and government be courageous and explain away the cover-up. As difficult it is for them, because they know they've stolen trillions of dollars, but we can help them, my friends. And we'll talk more about that in future videos, okay? Thanks, guys. Have a great day. Bye-bye.